Welcome to the Raven from Valhalla Sportscast podcast, produced by the Valhalla Sports Talk YouTube channel. My name is Jeff Cran, but most of the berserkers and the V-homies on my YouTube channel call me Valhalla. Raven from Valhalla will be recorded Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and aired live on the Valhalla Sports Talk YouTube channel. It will then be available in audio form on Google Podcasts with distribution to sites like Spotify and iHeartRadio. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy today's show. Good day, everybody. Good day. It's Friday, June 2nd, 2023, Season 1, Episode number 2, y'all. Episode number 2. We got through the first one yesterday, and now we're moving on and trying to improve this thing as we go along. The title of this one was Be Better Today. Not Your Mom checks into the chat. How you doing, sir? How you doing? But anyway, so yesterday's show, obviously it posted correctly to the YouTube page, to the Valhalla Sports Talk channel, but as far as now, I don't see it yet on Google Podcasts. I did look that up just before coming online today, and it appears it can take anywhere from a few days to a few hours for Google to index it. It says, so please be patient. So what I'm going to do is I'll do these two shows this week, and then a full set next week, Monday through Friday, and then just see where I'm at that point, and whether I think that I'm doing it properly, or if there's any changes that need to be made at that point. But yeah, it definitely posted properly, and I thought the audio was pretty good and all that good stuff. Yeah, we'll work through it all and try to make it a show that does something. Obviously, you got to start somewhere, right? You got to start somewhere, and you can't do it unless you put something out there. Mark Fetters checks in, says, good day. Happy Friday, sir. How are you? How are you today? But let's get right to it, y'all. Let's get right to it. As I mentioned yesterday, these podcasts tend to not be longer form. They tend not to be more than like an hour for the most part. But we'll see where this one goes today. Yesterday, I kind of ran out of things to talk about because it's kind of a weird time of the year where you got half of the leagues, or two of the leagues, are in their finals. So a lot of people out fishing or on vacation if their team has been eliminated. So it's tough to kind of fill air, but we'll just go through this, and I'll kind of take my time today and try not to panic if I run out of things to talk about. But we'll go right to the NFL, y'all, right to the NFL. So the NFL, obviously in their off-season, OTAs in full effect for all of the teams, their off-season workouts and all that good stuff. Teams trying to dial in their rosters, get their rookies up to speed with the playbook. The top three headlines, according to ESPN right now, is Brady says he's certain he's not playing again. That came out yesterday. Brady, of course, rumored to have purchased a stake in the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders in some kind of disarray. Not sure if Garoppolo, who they signed to a rather large contract, is going to be healthy enough to play quarterback. They do, however, have an out. And McDaniels, the coach of the Raiders yesterday, said he's got no anxiety over the Raiders quarterback situation. So that tells me that he thinks, at least, that Garoppolo will be able to pass a physical and be ready to report for training camp on time. And we'll go from there and see how the Raider Nation does. Theo checks in, says, good luck, Val. How's it going, Theo? Hope your vacation's going well, buddy. The last headline here on ESPN was Cowboys Pollard says he'll be cleared for camp. So Pollard going to be a big part for the Dallas Cowboys this year, as they have, of course, released Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott out there on the waiver wire looking for work right now. So Pollard expected to get a vast majority of the Cowboys running reps So that could be very important, but he's got to get cleared for camp in time for that to occur. So as I mentioned, like NFL, just hardly any NFL news going on. The Vikings yesterday did not cut or trade Dalvin Cook, but the overriding thought is that they would have to do something with him to stay salary cap compliant post June 1st. So could today be the day that he's either traded or just outright released? Bobby checks in from Beantown Breakdown. Denver about to win the title. They made Miami look like a 8th seed again. Yeah, I'll get to the NBA here in just a few, Bobby, but I don't disagree with you one bit. Don't disagree with you one bit. But let's move on to MLB. Let's move on to Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball, of course, in their season, about 1/3 of the way through. And ESPN's main headline here is, how is LA still doing this? 5 reasons the Dodgers keep winning. Of course, that is ESPN Plus content. I'm not paying for that shit. But obviously how they keep doing it is they manage to get pitchers that get enough innings to get us through this massive issue with our starting pitchers being injured. But the top 3 headlines, according to ESPN, MLB's strict clock oversight is frustrating Scherzer. So Max Scherzer, New York Mets, signs for all that money. He's got the ass that the umpires are being too strict with the pitch clock issues, right? So I guess this stemmed from a game where the catcher his catcher had been at bat the inning prior and was not able to get out in time because he had to put on his catcher's gear. Well, every MLB team has 2 catchers, and the second catcher, his job is to go out there and catch the warm-up pitches while the regular catcher, the starting catcher, is getting his gear on should he have just had an at-bat. So I don't know. It's just more of Scherzer being a whiny bitch that he always is. But yeah, he's wanting the MLB to quit giving him called strikes because he's not ready to pitch in time. The next headline was the judge at DSG must fully pay MLB teams' contracts. What that is, y'all, that is a issue that arose in San Diego with the Padres. A company that was supposed to be paying them for their streaming rights just said, you know what? We're not paying you shit because we're not making enough money off of your streams. So they just withheld payment. And I guess they've got like 4 or 5 different teams that they are involved in. And MLB has said, wait a minute now, we're compared to the other leagues. So when you start to talk about the NFL and the NHL, etc., and the NBA, the MLB doesn't have full control of their streaming rights. Teams like the big market teams like the Dodgers, the Yankees, I think the Red Sox are in that group. But a number of the larger market teams own their own streaming rights, and they have very lucrative streaming packages that they sell. But MLB is trying to figure out how could we make this so that we control it, so that the Shield, or in the MLB's case, the Square, controls it. What's up, Tommy? Yeah, Scherzer had issues with the pitch clock in the preseason as well, truth. But yeah, they're trying to, MLB wants to get it to where they control all of the team's rights for streaming so that they then would control, obviously, a package for all of the different teams. Now, the only way they can do that is if they get the teams like the Dodgers, the Yankees, the other big market teams to sign off on it. And part of that is it's a sharing the wealth type thing, right? So if the MLB owns the rights and they've got all 30 teams locked up for their streaming rights, they could go out then and collect the revenue, and then they would disseminate it evenly, supposedly, between all the MLB teams. And of course, the bigger market teams were like, whoa, wait a minute, bro. I mean, there wouldn't even be a league if there wasn't the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Red Sox in it. Who would watch it? So I don't know. We'll see how that whole thing checks out. The third headline is the Red Sox Sale exits with left shoulder soreness. So that gives you an idea of how limited some of the news is today. But let's take a quick look at the scores from last night. And this is a component of these podcasts that might have to be eliminated if we're talking about a 3 or 4 day dissemination. Who cares what happened 5 days ago, right? But at least for today, for show number 2, episode number 2 anyway, we'll talk about what happened yesterday in the MLB. The Blue Jays defeated the Brewers 3-1. The Mets 4-2 over the Phillies. I believe that was a sweep for the Mets. The Padres finally showed up and defeated the Marlins 10-1. Diamondbacks 5-4 over the Rockies. Red Sox 8-2 over the Reds. And then the Twins 7-6 over the Guardians. Astros 5-2 over the Angels. Big game today in that series as Ohtani, I believe, is on the bump. But standings in the MLB. This is where it gets interesting, right? So Tampa Bay now continues to lead that American League East. They've got a 4-game lead over the Orioles, who are having an excellent year themselves, currently at 35-21. In the MLB Central Division in the American League, you've got the Twins leading the way at 30-27. Detroit Tigers are 2.5 games back, so an impressive season for the Tigers as well so far. In the West, in the American League, the Rangers, 35-20, lead it, and they've got the Houston Astros breathing down their neck, just 2.5 games back at 33-23. In the National League, the team with the most wins in the National League we know is the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. But the Braves now, 33-23, have a 3.5 game lead over those New York Mets. The Nationals obviously bringing up the rear in that East Division. In the Central, the Brewers continue to lead it 29-27, but it's only a half-game lead over the Pittsburgh Pirates, who have managed to battle through the injury of their star shortstop, Cruz, over the shortstop Cruz. In the West, the Diamondbacks now with a statistical lead. They passed the Dodgers. They're both 34-23, but the Diamondbacks, probably because of head-to-head, are now leading the National League West. We'll see how it goes after tonight. It's all about the Benjamin, says Texas Repo Joe. How you doing, sir? Big Blake says, still waiting to hear from the Raven. What? I don't know why that concept is so hard for people to understand. Okay, Vikings, they sent messages via Raven. But whatever. I get some people can't understand stuff. So the Raven from Valhalla is bringing the news. You get it? Get it? All right. It's not the Raven from Baltimore. Not your mom checks in. All right. So let's move on to the NBA, y'all. As Bobby mentioned, the NBA, of course, last night was game 1 of the NBA Finals. And Denver took it to the Miami Heat. I mentioned yesterday on this podcast that I thought that the Nuggets would sweep this Miami Heat team and win this thing in 4 straight. They win their first ever finals game. They win their first ever finals game at home. And it was a 104-93 final. Jokic with another triple-double. Murray out there dropping shots. And you cannot discount with that Nugget team the supporting cast there, y'all. I'm telling you, Gordon with a huge first half in that game. Gordon, of course, a alumni from just up north from me. at the University of Arizona. And then you got, Michael Porter Jr. and Caldwell Pope, a huge piece of that team as well. But every time, it's just like the Lakers series, at least last night was, where every time Miami would try to get back in it or make a little run, you start seeing those threes from Michael Porter Jr. or the dunk underneath by Gordon. Just unbelievable team that they've put together in Denver there now. And I was thinking last night that this is starting to give me Golden State Warrior vibes. This team, they've got a team that contract wise, I believe most of them are locked up long term. You can tell that they don't mind playing with one another. There is no internal strife, it doesn't appear. And they drain threes whenever a team tries to come back on them. Heat did not look good. No, they didn't. Tommy says, we get Raven reference, Game of Thrones. Exactly, dude. But yeah, so they I don't know, man. The next game of this series between Denver and Miami is Sunday, 5 p.m. my time, I believe. So 8 o'clock Eastern on ABC will be game 2. That game will take place in Denver as well. Definitely will take place. But the top 3 highlights, according to ESPN, news-wise, Jokic Murray lead Nuggets to a beautiful Game 1 win. Truth. Jimmy Butler urges the Heat to attack after a record low 2 free throws. Yeah, that was a record. The Heat went to the free throw line 2 times in last night's contest. And that's what happens when you sit outside beyond the arc and just jack up threes the entire game, hoping for the best. But they literally set a record yesterday for fewest free throws taken in an NBA Finals game. And then the last headline, according to ESPN, is Morant ruling to come after NBA Finals. So Ja Morant, that gun-toting fella, waving it around. It sounds to me like the NBA has found more information on that whole deal and that they are not happy about it at all. And I'm starting to think that, once you smack one of your parents in the face, right? If you smack one of your parents in the face and they discipline you for it, and you promise to never do that again, and then less than a few weeks later, you smack them in the face again, I would not be shocked if Ja Morant gets to sit out the entire 2024 NBA season. I would not be shocked one bit if the NBA comes down hard on him and says, this is not okay. Mark says Jokic is so unselfish. He is, bro. He is unbelievable player. And I don't get it when I watch him play because he looks like a big doof. He looks like what I would assume that I would look like trying to play NBA basketball. But the only difference is he hits his shots. Nuggets are going to win. Absolutely, Joss. Tommy says Nuggets have the momentum and a solid team. I think they've got more than momentum at this point. I think the Nuggets are a team of destiny. Morant wants to be a gangster. He is not, says Mark. Yeah, I mean, this kid literally grew up in the suburbs. He probably... Let me put it this way. I've seen like pictures of Morant's family and stuff and him growing up. And this is going to be funny, but I was probably more hood than Ja Morant. I was probably more hood than Ja Morant. I grew up in Hawthorne, Inglewood area, Compton. That's where I grew up as a little kid. Ja Morant out there in the suburbs. Texas Repo Joe, that dude is a moron. $200 million contract, and he does that. They just don't get it. Bobby says that MFer looks like Lurch from the Addams Family. He's creepy and he's goofy. He's scoring on your power forward. The Jokic family. So that's it for the NBA, y'all. NBA obviously in their playoffs, and Sunday, next game in Denver again. Can the Heat make a game of it? I guess we'll see. Now off to another league, the NHL, y'all. The NHL. The NHL. Obviously, their finals about to start tomorrow. Tomorrow at 5:00 Mountain Time, so 8:00 Eastern. It's, of course, Florida traveling to the Las Vegas Golden Knights. The nightmare scenario for the NHL, kind of like the NBA, I suppose, but kind of like the nightmare scenario. They've got two very smaller market teams, but the good thing is that neither one of them has ever won Lord Stanley's Cup. So maybe they'll get some views based on that. But in my opinion, I'm thinking Vegas will probably win that, and it'll probably be in like 6 games. It'll probably be an interesting series, but I'm not sure who's going to watch it. I do know I do definitely know one guy that won't be watching it, and that is me. But good luck to both those teams. Hope the best team wins in that series. But the headlines in the NHL: Canadiens forward Hezetta signs a 2-year deal. No clue who that dude is. Peterborough advances to the Memorial semifinal. No idea what that means. And Kane has hip resurfacing surgery, out 4 to 6 months. Is that Kane for the Oilers? No, that's Kane from the Blackhawks. Okay, so slim pickings in the NHL if we're not talking about the playoffs or the finals. What's up, Mark Guest? Butler might give them 7. No way, bro. Sweep. Absolute sweep. Jokic too good. I'm getting the broomstick from my grandma's cupboard. There you go. Compton, Inglewood, Hawthorne area was popping off in the 80s. They just don't know. Exactly, Josh. They don't know. They're rooting for the Knights. What do you mean Canadians? What do you mean F the Canadians, bro? There's no Canadian teams. All right, so how far are we into this bad boy? We did better than today. We're 23, or than yesterday. We're 23 minutes in. And now we're going to go to what we renamed after one day. We've renamed it to the overtime section of today's Sportscast podcast. I wanted to talk a little bit in the overtime here. Other sports, I don't know what the hell's going on out there. There doesn't seem to be much craziness going on. I think we've got the Women's World Cup coming up here pretty quick. The college football probably fire up here shortly. But yeah, just the dog days of summer, y'all. There's a dog days of summer in real life, and there's a dog days of summer in sports news, and we're in it, y'all. We are in it. But I wanted to talk about something I saw on the YouTube side last night that wasn't shocking to me because I predicted it was going to occur. But so we got the NBA finals going on, and a number of these channels, I've always said that the easiest views on YouTube for people that do channels like I do, these watch party play-by-play channels, I've always said that the easiest views were NBA basketball. They're the easiest ones. You get the most bang for your buck. And I don't know why I haven't not only realized that, but why I haven't done more NBA content on the channel. But man, last night was an eye-opener if you looked at numbers for like the smaller channels, the channels that are like my size or smaller. There were channels last night that were doing 30,000 views or more a week ago whenever the Los Angeles Lakers played. Okay. But it had to be the Lakers because the numbers when the Lakers aren't on are vastly different. Even for the big channels, the numbers are vastly different when the Lakers aren't involved. But yeah, channels that were doing 20,000 views sat there last night with 12 people in the chat. Channels that were doing 20,000 views literally with 12 people in the chat. Yeah, no doubt, Mark. No doubt. It's that time of the year, the dog days of summer. But it was just really interesting to watch that last night. I mean, there were channels that even the real small ones that were doing, during Laker games just a week ago that would have like 30 in their chat. They were sitting at like 2 last night. 2. So while NBA basketball is the king in this YouTube sphere as far as views, even better than football, I think, the team that makes it all happen is the Los Angeles Lakers. So what is that? What makes that occur? In my opinion, everything nowadays, unfortunately, is driven by the haters. The hate, jealousy, all those things. And there's a lot of hate out there for the Los Angeles Lakers. And that's what drives these numbers. But yeah, I was just very, very interested to see how that all went down. But I did want to touch on that. Tonight, what do we got going on tonight, y'all? We've got Dodgers-Yankees, highly anticipated matchup. I'll be doing a live stream for that game. I will pray, even though I'm not much of a prayer, that this internet holds up, because last night, this internet was dropping about 3 times an hour. So hopefully that does not occur tonight. Bobby says, F the Lakers. Shit. Bobby, on your podcast, that's all you talk about, bro. Bobby be talking about the Lakers on his podcast on a daily basis. Him and JD, the haters. The haters, exactly. But yeah, Dodgers-Yankees tonight on the channel. I will go online like I always do about 15, 20 minutes prior to that contest and hope that we stay online for it. A lot of channels that never do baseball are doing that game. So we'll see how that goes. But I'll see you guys when that whole deal starts. And this is probably going to be it for today's Raven from Valhalla Sportscast podcast. Again, we're just kind of logging episodes at this point, y'all, just to see about the distribution, how this all works, how it all feeds in to the Google Podcast platform and how they disseminate it. Mark says if you like doing it, it's fun. That's all that really matters. Truth. Basketball has an international audience. Baseball and football are mostly domestic. Exactly, Joss. I think you're right there as well, bud. I think you're definitely. A lot of those basketball views come from the Philippines. But yeah, I'm definitely going to get on that next year, though. I'll be doing probably every Laker game I can next year. We're going to try to make a play for that. But I'm going to thank you all for joining us. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Raven from Valhalla, a Sportscast podcast. I appreciate you taking some time out of your busy day. If you're watching today's show on YouTube, please subscribe to the Valhalla Sports Talk YouTube channel. Give the video a like and turn on notifications so you know when Valhalla Sports Talk posts videos or goes online. If you're a Google Podcast listener, please follow and bookmark the page. Have a great day, and remember, when a Raven from Valhalla brings the sports news, you know it just got serious. Have a good day, everybody.